Welcome to Embodied Microdosing, where we explore the miracles that happen when we combine intentional doses of sacred mushrooms with trauma-informed somatic practices. Hi, I'm Rai, and this ministry is on a mission to help you embody healing. Let's answer your questions and call in expansion so you can integrate these highly effective evidence-based tools into your journey. Embodied microdosing is where science and spirituality meet to awaken the healer within. Let's take one conscious breath together. And begin.
Let's talk about setting intentions. We're doing a deep dive today on the Embodied Microdosing podcast in one of the most powerful practices you can implement on your healing journey. I'm serious. Whether you're microdosing or not, this practice, in the way that I'm going to break it down and describe it to you, is art and science. And I can't wait to offer you this system, really, this efficient little system for moving through your healing. 2 years ago, in 2023, I held a study with 40 participants, and I tracked the results over a period of 20 weeks for those who were specifically adhering to the protocol that I have designed. And this is where it began. I knew I was onto something in 2021 and 2022, and then I finally said, look, I'm not just going to assume this, I'm going to track this. And so for 20 weeks, 40 people gave me their results once a week on a feedback form. And over and over again, I heard people say, whoa, the intention setting part of this is really the magic. And almost being curious, like, do I even need the mushrooms? Right? And no, the answer is you can implement this incredible practice with any medicine you are working with. I started by doing this with CBD, just trying to honor that sacred plant, incredible, the plant of hemp, and the way it can support us, not psychoactive, and found that I was able to direct and work with the hemp plant and the compounds, specifically the CBD, that were supporting my inflammation and anxiety at that point. And so that's what turned that on for me. And when I started doing it during microdosing and asking others to use the same format, I was pretty blown away at what came through. So here we go. Today we're going to explore how setting clear and intentional goals for your healing journey is absolutely transformational. It not only deepens your relationship with yourself and the sacred mushroom and God, whatever name you use for God, it really directs the healing. It allows you to be a little bit more in the driver's seat. You know, sometimes this healing journey can feel so wildly out of control, and there's so much we don't have control over, right? And allowing and surrendering and flowing and letting go is so much part of the art. But when we're talking about neuroplasticity and really intentionally connecting the dots for ourselves and building new neural networks around the stories that are true, the beliefs that are true, the new beliefs, and shutting down and extinguishing those old lies and stories that are not true, this intention setting process can support that. So I also find it a very helpful way to focus. I don't know about you, but there's a lot of distraction in my world and in this whole modern world. It's so easy to be taken from what we're doing. There's so many obligations that, we're often taken from our highest alignment and pulled into whatever energies are the loudest. And a lot of times we're unintentionally giving our attention to things that are building a neurology of lack and distraction and, chase the pretty sparkly object instead of intentionally building around what you desire, which doesn't always feel good. Let's be honest, right? So you can set an intention for your day, for the season that you're in. Like I have a winter intention right now. around getting more rest and attuning to a better bedtime for me, and not pushing myself physically around the homestead. I decided in the fall, when the weather was nice, I was going to plant a whole bunch of winter stuff and put it in the greenhouse. And I can garden through winter because I have a greenhouse. And guess what? It's all dying in there because I don't want to garden in winter because I'm not supposed to garden in winter. So just like learning the lessons for me that the land is teaching me, and letting winter be restorative so that when spring does come and the chores do come and I got to clean up all this dead stuff, I'm pumped for it. I'm excited. I have energy. So that's just an example of a seasonal intention that really is just very practical, right? It's not even spiritual, although it can certainly translate to the energetic and spiritual. You can set an intention for a whole year. I'm real big on the word of the year. I started this a few years ago, and this year that we're in, 2025, my word is authenticity, and that feels really juicy already, although we're only 1 week into it, but just thoughts and ideas are coming through. I'm not even doing anything yet, but just by setting that intention, I'm seeing and noticing places where I am inauthentic and where there's opportunity to lean into greater alignment and authenticity. So any length of time, you can have an intention for a week. I even like monthly intentions too. So we start with a specific intention for some period of time, it doesn't matter, and we hold it, and we examine it, and we work with it, and we reflect on it. And as we're doing this miracle of neuroplasticity begins to take hold, and our healing and our growth happen. So I want you to understand that psychedelics are revealing. They reveal. They pull back the curtain, as sort of like the great Wizard of Oz. Like, what's that scene where, he's got this big banging, booming voice and they're all so afraid, and then Toto goes over and pulls the curtain back and he's really just this little man behind the curtain. Like, they reveal, they pull back the curtain and show the truth of what's actually there. And they do this in our hearts, they do this in our minds, they do this in the external reality as well. What's true and what's not. I feel like my life completely blew up when I started microdosing, and I thought I was living intentionally, and it was like I was really able to see my blind spots, and it brought me to my knees in some ways. And I know some other people who've had that same experience. Understand that you are making an ask when you set an intention. This is a prayer, okay? Your intention is to you, it's to your unconscious, it's also to God and your spirit team. So, and of course to the sacred mushroom as well and the consciousness there. But this intention is asking that something be unearthed, that something be subtly revealed to. Remember, we're talking about subtle. When I say I was brought to my knees when I was microdosing, that did not happen in the first day, the first week, the first month, maybe not even in the first season. It was just evidence after evidence building, with that curtain being pulled back over and over again, where I was able to go, oh, I see what I'm doing. I see where I'm lying to myself. I see all the places I am out of alignment. And that's what my intentions were around. So that's what was being revealed to me. Again, a loving reminder that sacred mushrooms don't take your problems away. A lot of times, like in what I'm describing here about my early experience in 2017, they shine the light on the yucky stuff sometimes. I will meet women who say, I'm a little nervous to microdose because I know that my marriage isn't meant to be forever. I know that this isn't right. And I'm afraid to really be called to that and have to do something about it, right? The teacher, the mushroom is a teacher. The teacher is going to be very clear with you. And, someone who's saying that is already pretty clear about what's going on, but they're not ready to be called on it. And that's exactly what the psychedelic will do. So get ready. And this is why we go slow, and it happens over seasons and time. So when you are being intentional, you're being specific. if you're broadly intentional, there might not be a point. Like, show me how to heal, right? Show me the way. When I first shared about intention setting with an early crew who was testing all of this out for me, I'd said, if you can't think of an intention, just say, show me the way. And man, I can't tell you how many people were like, great, I can never think of an intention. I don't have energy. I don't have time. That's boring, or that's challenging, or I don't know, my intentions never sound as good as yours, Rye. So show me the way. Microdose, go. Right? And then they're like, I don't know why, but I'm like unclear and not much is coming through. The more specific you are with your intention, the more specific the feedback is going to be that is revealed to you, right? So you want to start asking yourself, what am I ready to shift? Zone in on a particular area of your life, right? If your work stuff is like the most triggering thing and it's in your way the biggest, maybe the work stuff is what you need to look at, or maybe the work stuff is too big to start with, and maybe starting with your movement or your nourishment is going to give you some foundational support in order to be fortified for what's coming when you look at and begin to shift into examining your work stuff. So, you don't always have to pick the hardest thing. You may not want to also pick the easiest thing either, right? That show me the way, or that like, oh, I'm already pretty good with my stuff with my kids and I'm used to working on that stuff. So let's go back to what's easy for me, right? So you want to come to your edge, you want to challenge yourself, but you also want to take care of yourself. So there's a sweet spot even for your intention setting. And if you're just starting out, oh my gosh, go easy. You can set the intention. Show me how to set more specific intentions. Show me how to have an intention setting practice. Show me how to work with the sacred mushrooms. Show me what it feels like to develop a supportive microdosing practice. Make it about the experience that you're learning about. When people say to me, I'm so stuck on intention setting, I don't know, I can't think of new ideas for intentions to set. All that I need to say is, what's tripping you up right now? Where are you triggered in your life? And it's like, definitely around my food stuff. Okay, so there's your intention. And they'll be like, oh, shoot, I can set intentions around food? Yeah, you can set intentions around anything. Show me what I need to set an intention around, right? Like, whatever is tripping you up can be the intention. So come back to those exploratory questions if you're just at the beginning of this process, and ask yourself, what part of me is asking for healing? What am I ready to shift in my life? What am I tired of dealing with? Where am I getting in my own way? And then once you have a general area that feels meaningful and like in your sweet spot, right, where it's not something so triggering that it's difficult to even look at it, and it's not something so basic and easy that you're not going to be challenging yourself, you'll frame the intention in the show me framework. And you've heard me list a bunch of intentions so far, asking this first two words be show me. Show me, because psychedelics reveal, as we talked about earlier, that curtain being pulled back. You ask the sacred mushroom to show you. Show me what it looks like. If you're more of a visual person, I find this one can be really stimulating and give you some traction. Show me what it looks like to nourish myself with integrity. Show me what it feels like. This one's a little more kinesthetic, a little more for the person who feels their way through things instead of sees their way through things. And that show me can be something like, show me what it feels like to move my anger when it rises. Show me what it feels like to forgive my mother. And then show me what I need to know. If you're missing some information, if you are a little more cognitively driven, if you feel like I don't quite get it and there's a dot that's not connecting, maybe there's something you need to know and understand. So show me what I need to know to change my career. Show me what I need to know to become a better parent to my teenager. Show me what I need to know to start a podcast, right? And then notice, because doors will open, knocks on the door will be heard, right? Echoes of that very intention and that subject, right? It'd be, oh, how interesting. I just set that intention yesterday, and how funny, I'm like stumbling upon this paragraph in a book and it's directly related to that intention. Oh my gosh, there's something here. Let's get the highlighter, right? So I want you to really understand the power of this show me. I want you to hear the difference between these two intentions, okay? Maybe your healing intentions sound something like, I want to feel peaceful. I want to be peaceful, right? I need peace in my life, right? Listen to the difference between I need peace and show me what it feels like to be at peace with myself, right? It's much more focused. It's actionable. It's curious, and it's going to get you that traction, especially when coupled with the incredible gift that the sacred mushroom is for the brain, for making those connections, for showing you, literally for teaching you. Listen, your intention does not have to be huge, world-changing, life-shifting every single time. This is where a lot of people get hung up. It's better to keep it simple and be really specific. Okay, so don't get too caught up. I want to give you some real life intentions that you can try. I actually have a list of over 100 intentions that have been used by members of the Embodied Microdosing community, and those are all inside the free Embodied Microdosing mini course that's at the website. You can check out the links in the show notes to get access to this course and the downloadable PDF that will give you oodles of ideas for intention setting. But I'm going to give you some that I just really love and jumped out at me off the page when I was scrolling through it earlier. See if, as I read these to you, any of these kind of give a tug to your heart or your belly, or tickle your brain in a way that makes you want to borrow and use this very intention. You don't have to come up with your own. You're free to use one of these. Show me what it looks like to be more accepting of who I am. Show me how to navigate my career with more grace. Show me how to forgive myself for the things I cannot change. Oh, that one punches me in the gut. Show me how to trust on my healing journey. Show me what it feels like to heal my heart. Show me what I need to know to find my partner, my beloved. Show me how to be a better mother. Show me what I need to know to quit drinking alcohol. Show me where I'm getting in my own way and how to begin to shift it. Show me how to be more present with my children. Show me what it looks like and feels like to love myself. Did any of these jump out at you? None of these intentions are about forcing a specific outcome too. I want to really put that in here. Sometimes people want to trick the sacred mushroom and themselves into forcing themselves to lose the exact 15 pounds they want to lose. And while weight loss can certainly be a topic around setting intentions, I really want you to keep in mind that these are invitations. They're curiosities. We're not setting smart goals for your, specific action to knock things out on a list. This can be a little tricky for people who are really goal setters, to not force an outcome and make the intention and the mushroom do exactly what you want it to do. It's really not how it works. This is about invitations to the medicine, to your body, and to your mind to show what the truth is, right? Show what really needs to be revealed. If you're feeling the call to microdose but unsure about where to start or to source, the Embodied Microdosing Sacrament Shop is a safe and sacred space for you to explore.
Inside, you can find pure, organic, handcrafted tinctures, including our 2 mushrooms, psilocybin and Amanita muscaria, both designed for your healing, grounding, and connection. We also have flower remedies like rose, lavender, holy basil, just perfect to complement your mushroom microdosing practice. All of these liquid remedies are easy to dose, very tasty, and can be taken directly in your mouth or added to your tea or water. If you're curious about how they feel, you can read some of the testimonials inside the shop for inspiration. You can explore all of the offerings at embodiedmicrodosing.com/shop. These are sacred remedies for spiritual self-healers. That's embodiedmicrodosing.com/shop.
Okay, moving on. I want to actually tell you a story of a mom who set an intention that did not work for her. And I think it's a beautiful example to give to help you guide your early intention setting. So this mom has 3 kids and was very excited to begin microdosing because she was experiencing a lot of overwhelm and frustration in her experience of parenting. She is a special education teacher and had all of this skill set around how to deal with more challenging situations with children on the spectrum. And she had a child on the spectrum, and she was not handling her everyday very well. And let's just put a side note here that 3 kids and one of them special needs, it's okay if shit is messy, right? There's a lot of room in here for compassion and forgiveness of self and softness for just how hard it is to parent, especially special needs and multiple children at once, all very young. So keeping that in mind, we discussed, how to dose and a possible schedule, and I sort of led her on her way for figuring out the intention. And about a week later, she contacted me and said, "This is not working. I almost hit one of my children. The medicine made me violent," right? And I said, "Let's get on the phone." So the first thing I asked her was, "What was your intention?" Not what was the dose, not what schedule have you been dosing on. I had been doing enough work at that point, although this was early on, to know the intention really a lot of the time was the most powerful and pivotal piece. And she said, "Well, I asked the medicine to show me everything I've been hiding from myself." Right? Whew. Homegirl wanted to just cut right to the chase, right? Show me everything I've been hiding from myself. And what came up was rage, right? Unadulterated rage. And, once we tuned in on it, her emotion began to move, and she acknowledged that what came up was feeling like it was really unfair, right? That this child was sort of ruining this, nice picture of a nice family. And there was so much shame and anger at the situation and anger at herself. And so, of course, it escalated to, wanting to hurt someone or something, right? That's that energy. We're not taught how to properly direct and discharge that energy. That's a lot of what we do inside the embodied microdosing community. Find healthy and productive ways to move the energy of emotion. That it is safe to feel. It is not safe to or good to hurt others, or self, but it is safe to feel, and we've got to discharge that. But yeah, show me everything I'm hiding from myself. Mom of 3 kids under the age of, 6. That intention is too intense, too much. And she does not have the capacity to allow that intention to come forth. There's too much truth that needs to come out, right? That's a big curtain and a big reveal in a life where she does not have the space to process what's coming up. Right now, that intention, if she's gone away for a week or a weekend of a guided journey without her children, and she's held in the space with a guide, hell yeah. Let's let it come up, girl, and let's move through all of it. But in the day-to-day, right, there was a better intention for her. And so I taught her some breath. We moved some energy. She shed some tears. We did dial back her dose. I think that's worth noting here. You can adjust the intention, and I certainly suggest you do if what's coming up is not tolerable, and the dose was probably truthfully too high if that level of energy was coming up. So scale the dose back, and we shifted to an intention that, if I'm remembering correctly, was something more like, show me how to work with my feelings, right? There wasn't enough tools in place yet for her to jump to let it all come up, because she didn't know how to work with what was coming up. So good intention for anybody, show me how to work with my emotions, it can be a really fruitful intention. So just a little intention setting story for you, so you can remember. I've got so many more in the book that I'm writing. I pulled that one out of the book. But yeah, there's some other juicy ones in there too. So feel free to share your holy crap, this is what happened when I set this intention story with me, if you want to be included. It's quite phenomenal how powerful this practice is. Okay, so something to note here as you're moving through this experience and learning this art form, really, you want to observe the experience that's happening, what begins unfolding, with as much non-judgment as possible. I say that with a little like, haha, right? This is where so many of us get tripped up, myself included. It's so easy to slip into self-criticism and frustration when things don't go as planned, especially if the intention is not showing you what you want to see. It's showing you all the ways you're not in integrity, which is very common, and I'll get to more of that in a second. But the non-judgment piece is really important here, because whether you're microdosing or not, a big part of the healing journey is allowing yourself to be loving and compassionate and curious towards whatever arises, especially your own crap. Okay, so instead of focusing on what you're doing wrong, and this isn't working, and this intention is making me mad, and this medicine is making me feel angry, and blaming the sacred mushroom and blaming the intention, and you're probably being shown how you show up when things get hard in all the ways, right? Really try and adopt this mindset of curious observation, or beginner's mind, it's sometimes referred to. So for example, let's say you're microdosing with the intention, show me how to be more present when I'm talking to people, right? Maybe when you're usually in exchange with someone, you're sort of dissociated and you don't really hear what they say, and then the exchange is over and you're like, I don't really know what happened there. And it's your boss and they gave you something to do, right? Or it's your partner and they were trying to have a heart-to-heart and you just couldn't connect, right? You couldn't be present with what was happening. And so this is a thing, so you set the intention, show me how to be more present when I'm in exchange with other humans. And you microdose, and on one particular day, you are, determined to be more present, and you're really feeling your feet on the ground, and you're breathing, and you're using your embodiment tools, and a conversation with your partner or your boss, all of a sudden you notice this irritation rising up. And because you're more embodied and more present, you notice your jaw is clenching and your mental chatter starts and you get super triggered and you want to just run and you're dissociating like crazy, right? And you're in some old pattern, but you're really seeing it. You're really seeing it. It would really be easy to say, well, I screwed that up, right? I wasn't present with my partner just then. I got pissed and then I dissociated. Ugh, this isn't working, right? Oh, no, right? Try a more compassionate take, something like, oh, that was interesting. So when I did get present, I noticed that my chest got really tight and I started clenching my jaw. And as soon as my thoughts started racing, then I really wanted to run. Then I really wanted to lash out, right? Okay, this is interesting, right? There's the curiosity. This is a mindset shift, y'all, that is critical for healing and growth, right? You're giving your space and your system, you're giving your system space to process what's happening, right? When you can see it from this more curious vantage point. This is where the real magic happens. Because look, maybe in this particular example, maybe later that day, you're reflecting on what happened, right? From this more curious place. And you realize that you have this idea that being present means being totally peaceful. You've just sort of intertwined presence and peace together. And what you really wanted was to be peaceful when you were talking to the person. But what presence gave you was a deeper awareness of the actual pattern that happens when you try and connect with someone and they trigger you. Right? Oh, and in this instance, you are suddenly able to see that presence actually means just being present with everything that was there. The good, the bad, and the ugly, right? So, there's an aha, right? Oh, I see what happened there, right? And then you may even shift your intention. You may decide like, okay, presence was helpful there. Certainly presence was helpful in this example to really see the pattern. I mean, you could set an example around an intention around presence all day long and get juice from that nonstop, right? But maybe what became more important is to set an intention like, show me how to hold space for my feelings as they come up. Show me how to stay present with myself, right? To make time to process what happens for me in these exchanges with others. To be more curious once I'm alone and out of the trigger about what that protective mechanism is happening in there when this person feels unsafe, right, in an exchange with someone else, and what the pattern is that they go into. Okay, we all think that we're super aware of our stuff. A lot of times we're just aware that we're triggered and we're like, darn, I got to stop doing that, without being so supremely aware that what you are doing is a protective mechanism. It's old as hell. It's young as fuck. It is a little young part of you that developed that response. And it's going to take a whole lot more than just saying, stop doing that, to stop doing that, right? It's going to take some inner work. It's going to take some reparenting. It's going to take the compassion and the non-judgment for sure as you piece this together and then ask the medicine, right? Show me how to do it a different way. Show me how to be in exchange and stay present with myself and the other. Show me how to be honest with my partner. In this moment, babe, I'm feeling super triggered and I'm wanting to do that old pattern that I do where I lash out at you. I don't want to do that. So can we just pause right now? I guarantee you, if you say that, your partner's going to be like, sure, let's not do the thing you usually do. Let's do it differently, right? And maybe some of you were saying, no, my partner would think I was crazy and they would roll their eyes at me. I don't know. You don't know until you try, right? So show me what it looks like to be honest when I'm triggered. That could be another one that comes out of us. Do you see how we started with show me how to be present in when I'm talking to someone else? And it's unraveled and peeled back layers and layers of various intentions that can be explored. None of them are wrong or right. No one is better than the other. Pick the next intention that comes through as it comes through that feels workable for you and keep going. This is it. This is the journey. Listen, this is an ongoing process. Sometimes you'll set an intention for a day and be like, well, no, let's see what happens if, I'm today's a day off and I'm supposed to spend some time with my little guy and I'm not really looking forward to it. It's going to just be errands and I don't know, maybe we'll make some muffins, but sure, wouldn't it be interesting if I wove a little joy through this day? Right? So, I don't know. Sure, why not? Let's try that. Show me what it looks like to experience joy with my child today. And I might forget that intention for a couple of hours and kind of just go into regular mode. And then maybe when I'm in the car and, he's just kind of zoning out the window and I'm like listening to one of my podcasts, I get this moment of inspiration seemingly out of nowhere. And I say to him, hey, what do you want to listen to? Should we put on a fun new song that we've never heard before? Or should we put on that new song from Moana 2 that we heard the other day? And then he lights up. And then we put that song on. And then what comes on after that song is Let It Go from Frozen, because I've just told Spotify that I like Disney. And all of a sudden, you're singing Let It Go on the top of your lungs with your kid laughing in the back seat because you happen to know all the words and he didn't know you knew all the words. And suddenly, there's joy in the car. And in that moment when the joy rises up, you remember, oh my God, this was my freaking microdosing intention today. Is that magic? Is that spirit? Is that the sacred mushroom? Is that your unconscious? It's all of it, right? It's all of it. This is the part where I just never get bored with the beauty of what happens when we are intentional and when we work with this sacred teacher. So that's an example of something that happened to me recently. And I know true, real stories are helpful for your process. But yeah, you can have a random day of a fun microdosing intention. Maybe I start to set that joy intention every time I have like a blah kind of day with my little guy, just to keep creating opportunities to connect with him. Or what I really like to do is hold the same intention for an entire microdosing cycle. Whatever you decide that protocol, that cycle is, and we'll get into that in a future episode, whether it's like 4 weeks, that's kind of a minimum that I set, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, 20 weeks. It doesn't matter. I tend to go in seasons. So 12 weeks is a really nice chunk of time to explore a particular intention and go deep on that one intention for an entire microdosing protocol, an entire cycle, before you take a break and integrate it. So some more intentions might look like, show me how to step into my most powerful aligned self. Okay, beautiful intention. And you work with that intention every day, and you let the medicine reveal new layers of understanding and insight as you go deeper and deeper into your practice of becoming more powerful and aligned. Maybe the practice reveals what gets in the way of you being your most powerful and aligned self. And this is a final kind of big point that I want to make and share an example. Maybe what you're starting to notice in this particular example is that you have a story that you're annoying and nobody wants to hear you talk. Yet you have this intention to show up as powerful and aligned. And those two things are really rubbing against each other, right? That thought that you are annoying and nobody wants to hear you talk, that story, that core negative belief, as I call it inside of Transforming Trauma, my yearly trauma healing program, was developed when you were younger. That is little you. And it can be healed. Right? But this goes much deeper than just repeating to yourself a mantra like, I am powerful, I am aligned, right? What are all the ways I convince myself that I'm powerful and I'm aligned, and override this negative belief that's sort of festering underneath? It's not possible. It's how, more shallow spiritual programs can kind of convince you like it's just about saying the mantra, writing the mantra 100 times in a row. Right? I'm not knocking mantras. I do think they can be powerful and there's great use of them. There's great ways to use them. And you need to remove that belief from the tissues of your body, because it doesn't just live as a thought or a story in your head. It lives in your breath and the way you breathe when you think that you're annoying and no one wants to hear you talk. It lives in the posture that you hold yourself in when you're thinking and believing this story that you're annoying and no one wants to hear you talk. It's literally in your tissues. So you've got to untangle that core negative belief. And the reason I'm laying this out is because the sacred mushroom might show you the yucky stuff instead of just delivering you here you go, here's empowerment, and here's alignment, have fun with it, right? That alignment and that empowerment is not accessible to you with that core negative belief kind of taking up that space and making it impossible to imprint a new belief. So here's my story around this. I had set the intention a few summers ago when I was really struggling with my teenager, my oldest. I think he had just turned 13 or 14. And man, oh my gosh, that age, so much harder than 16 that we're at now. I mean, even I think 12, 13, those early teen years were just extremely challenging for us as he was changing and the hormones were shifting. And I just kept setting the intention, show me what it looks like to lead from love. And all that I saw and felt and did every time I opened my mouth with this child was not from love. It was bossing, it was teaching, it was instructing, it was proving, it was defending, it was literally everything except love. And this went on for weeks, maybe even months, as I did what I'm describing to you all and allowed new layers to unfold and be revealed to me. And honestly, what was underneath was a tremendous amount of grief. Grief from my inner 13 and 14-year-old, who, even though her parents were so well-meaning and wanted to do it right, didn't have the tools and weren't healed enough to lead from love. They led with bossing and instructing and yelling and commanding and all of the things that I said I would never do and was doing. And how was he responding? With bossing and resisting and fighting back and telling me, you can't tell me what to do, right? And it felt impossible to get anywhere with him because there was literally no love in the relationship. There was love in me providing him with home-cooked meals and, clean sheets and, all of the ways we serve and love our families that are thankless, right? To all of the homemakers and parents out there, like it can feel like such a bottomless pit of giving and not receiving. And I think that is one of the things that came through during that experiment over a couple months with him, was that I was expecting him to give me something, to be insanely grateful to me. And I know there are kids out there like that who are so grateful and loving. And at this time, age 13 and 14, not surprisingly, this teenage boy was not saying like, thanks so much, Mom, for washing my sheets, right? Like, hello. So I unearthed just layers and layers and layers of stuff, and I cried buckets and buckets and buckets of tears. And it wasn't until I was able to meet my 14-year-old self with some compassion and, you guessed it, love, that I was able to knock on his door and go in his room and start with, hey, buddy, how are you today? Anything fun happen at school today? Yeah, what are you listening to? Ooh, that looks like a fun video game, right? All the stuff that I'm like, ugh, what is that? Are you seriously playing video games right now? Why don't you play some music or read a book, right? All the critical ways that I want to control him. And I just learned in that period of time to lead with the love, And then, hey, I want to let you know I'm feeling a little concerned about how much gaming you're doing today. Can we talk about that? Right? That creates a completely different reaction and response from a 14-year-old than, are you seriously gaming right now? Right? And some of you that are so good at interacting with children are like, yeah, but this is not what I knew. This is not what I learned. This is not at all how I had been parented. So just a little example from my own microdosing and healing journey, that summer, when I set that intention, show me what it looks like, show me what it feels like to lead from love with my son, we really transformed our relationship. The more I changed the way that I was showing up with him, the more he softened and changed the way he was showing up with me. And guess what? Tonight after dinner, do you know what he said to me? Thanks for making me dinner, Mom. I loved it. I did not even tell him to thank me. And yes, he's a very mature 16-year-old now and has grown a lot. And we've had more than a few fights about being a little more grateful. So he knows where I stand and what would be nice for me to receive from time to time in exchange for showing up for him. But it wasn't until I gave the love that I felt the love. And I think that's such a lesson for so many of us on the healing journey. We want to change the other person, right? And really the only changes that happen are when we change the way we show up in relation to the other person. So good. So at the end of your microdosing day, take a moment to reflect on your intention. This is really important. Even if it's just, you don't have to like take an hour and write in your journal, but like when I'm laying in bed, right, before I can fall asleep, it's like, what happened today? Like, let's replay the day, right? Was there an opportunity where my intention came up? Kind of like move through the day a little bit. What shifts did I experience at all? What was the energy that I was in today? And this is my favorite, from a place of compassion, just asking, if I could do any moments over today with my intention more at the forefront, how would I do the redo? right? How would I do that differently? This is a really powerful sort of mental rehearsal question that you can run through. And then you can even imagine yourself doing a do-over on that moment. This is especially poignant when we're talking about, relationships or even habits, really the habits you're trying to cultivate where you have those misses, because that's part of the process. You can't have hits if you don't have misses, right? We need that contrast. And yeah, how would I do that differently if my intention were more at the forefront? And if I struggled today, what did that teach me? What am I learning through these challenges, through these big emotions that I'm learning to navigate? Of course, writing it down can help to solidify those insights, but you don't have to. This isn't about getting it right? This is about letting yourself be in this flow of discovering around your intention, around your healing. So whether you're microdosing or not, I'm going to wrap this up. This is one of the longest episodes, but this is just such a powerful lesson, and I'm so glad we got to deep dive on this. This intention setting practice is about becoming more conscious of the shifts that you want to make and inviting the sacred mushroom to show you how to make them. Or not, inviting the CBD, inviting the nourishing meal, inviting the lion's mane mushroom, insert medicine here, right? That's the point of this. The intention setting practice is the star as far as today's episode goes. And don't forget about the compassion for yourself, that non-judgment, that just patience for the process, right? You can't fix it all. And the point isn't to fix, but you can't fix it all in 1 week of microdosing. So what's your intention going to be going forward from here? Did this episode give you any insights to support setting more effective, more potent intentions in an area where you could really use some support? Yeah, go ahead and try it on for size and see what unfolds. I'm so glad you were here today. I hope that this episode inspired you to step into a more intentional practice. And as usual, I would love to hear from you. Find me on one of the socials. It's all going to be in the notes there. And don't forget to visit the Embodied Microdosing website to take advantage of the incredible resources our ministry offers for supporting your epic healing journey. I can't wait to be in communion and community with you. Thank you. Happy intention setting.